All right, I've been watching videos and taking notes, as I recommend everybody does. And as you do this, it seems like just by fate the right ones come together. I've seen pretty near every video out there of any substance, and most of them more than once. But then you watch them again and you're in a different place and you've learned other things, and something new sinks in, or you get them in a new combination, which is what just happened. So the idea I have, and I'd like to get some feedback from those of you who've done bees longer than I have and have more knowledge of Varroa and what they can do to the hives, I guess. There's a number of different methods to take care of them, and a lot of really bad chemicals that we've used. And we know that the chemicals that we're putting in our hives are the reason our queens are failing, and that we have drone problems. The drones are extremely susceptible to the toxins that we've put into our hives. Their fertility is down, they don't function right. Queens are probably just as susceptible, and the queens are on them longer. So over time, they're on those frames for years. It's going to have more effect on them. It doesn't have a lot of effect on a summer bee that lasts 6 weeks. And then, of course, it has a big effect on your winter bees, which you're expecting to make it through the winter. So how many of those that we blame on Varroa or somebody else's chemicals really have died because the wax that they were born in has too many chemicals in it? All right, that said, we can't just give up on chemicals and walk away, or we have no bees. So we've got to come up with other methods to get our bees through Varroa, so we can clean the chemicals out of our hives and get stronger queens and better bred queens back. All right, that rambling said, so I watched a video by, I believe, Black Mountain Honey. He's across the pond there somewhere, but he was standing in the snow in his bee yard doing a review on some cages that you put your frames into that go in the hive. One of those cages has a bee excluder, so the bees can't get through it, but you can introduce a queen on a frame laying in there. It's a great idea. 100% for that. The other one would take a couple of frames and had a queen excluder, so the queen was locked in there. Great idea again for being able to tell how old your larvae are if you're going to try to graft. So then I watch Sam Comfort, and he's practices treatment-free beekeeping, but what he's doing is making lots of queens. So when people asked him on the video how come he didn't have Varroa problems, his response was, because every one of my hives gets a brood break once a month. So he leaves the queen in for 21 days. He goes in, she's laying, it's capped, he pulls the queen out, queen gets sold, a new cell goes in. So there's a brood break. That's how bees naturally take care of Varroa. They swarm, they leave a new queen in a cell, so that hive gets a brood break. The hive that the colony that left also gets a brood break. We don't allow brood breaks, except maybe once a year when they do it in November. But what if we were able to put the queen in the queen excluder cage on nothing but drone brood for 17 days? Okay, our queen is still in the hive, so the hive doesn't go laying worker. They don't try to make queen cells. The queen is still laying, so her pheromones are up as a laying queen. She's not in a tube, waiting and resting. She's laying drone, which is where the Varroa prefer to be, because they're under the cappings for 2 more days, which allows the Varroa to almost double their numbers in those extra 2 days. so they prefer to be there. So if you left her in there for 17 days laying on drone brood or drone frames, then pulled that drone frames out and disposed of it, put it in the freezer, feed it to the chickens, it's gone. So are any Varroa that are in there. At day 24, I believe, so at day 17 you put the queen back with her colony. At day 24 there are no capped brood in the original colony. Everything that was capped has emerged, and what she started laying from day 17 is not capped yet, and now an oxalic acid treatment would be fabulous. That's when it works the best. It's very non-toxic to the bees. There's oxalic acid in honey, so it's a natural product. We're increasing the percentage of it to affect the mites. There are no studies that I'm aware of out there that say oxalic acid is detrimental to the bees' livelihood and their life. We may find that to be different in later years, that too much of it isn't good either, but at this point it's the softest chemical that we know of to use. So if you've given them, in essence, given them a brood break, the other thing that I've seen some evidence of is that after the brood break, the bees recover very quickly. The nurse bees are swollen with royal jelly and feed. They're ready to take care of brood, and they haven't had any to take care of. So, and the queen has lots of open cells, and she's got workers that have been emerging through this entire time. So she hits it with a vengeance to lay up the hive, and the worker bees feed with a vengeance, and the hive recovers from that 17-day loss of eggs really quickly. Now, timing in this would certainly help. You don't want to have your numbers down just prior to your flow, things like that, but with a little bit of timing, would this help us eliminate the need for heavier chemical treatments and have a really good effect on the Varroa populations? If this was done a couple of times a year, would we not have to treat with some of the heavier crap? Randy Oliver is doing a number of studies on being able to put oxalic acid with glycerin on shop towels in the hive. So now, instead of having to go out and vaporize it, which is time consuming and a pain in the butt, you'll be able to just lay strips in there, and these strips should be able to be in there when the honey flow is on. That's what they're testing now. So if you incorporated that along with this brood break on the drone, it seems to me that we could get pretty good control of our Varroa. Just one more tool. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about that, and we'll definitely be doing some trials on it, so we'll see. And I have ordered my artificial insemination kit. Hopefully it'll be here soon. I've been in contact with Sue Kobe, who is just north of me about 4 hours, and as soon as this coronavirus thing slows up a little, she'll get back to classes, and I'll be able to get into one of her 3-day classes, which will be awesome. It gives me enough time to really learn how to screw this up before I go there and have her fix all my problems. Anyhow, hope you guys are moving forward with your bee equipment and getting ready for spring, because she's coming. We'll talk to you later.